Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today, I am very excited to be having a conversation with actor and stand up comedian Jimmy Dunn. Right now, you can see Jimmy in the Frasier reboot on Paramount Plus. Thank you so much for being on my show. I am so excited to be talking with you.
Oh, thank you, Maya. I'm excited to be talking with you. Thank you for the invite. When you sent the invite over, I looked up some of the stuff you've been doing, and it just is amazing. And I went, yeah, of course, I'm in on that. I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, thank you. So let's get started.
Sure.
So, who do you most admire, and how has that impacted the way you live your life?
Oh, that's a good question. Who do I most admire? Um, that's a great question. I mean, it was always my dad.
Mhm.
My dad was just the best. The way that he could always find humor in everything. My dad and my dad's family, they all just love to laugh, and I think that probably led me into the world of stand up comedy. But I've always admired the way my dad just found found humor in everything, and he was just such a great storyteller, and I think I got a lot of that too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So what do you wish people better understood about you?
About me, I don't know. I think people understand me pretty well. I'm pretty simple.
Yeah.
I I like to laugh. I like to eat. I like to
Yeah.
have fun. I love to surf. That's a big part of my life, and I love to get in the ocean. And so I think everything that I do kind of steers me so that I can have the freedom to go jump in the ocean pretty much whenever I want. And so that's a big part of my life. I'm looking at the ocean right now.
Yeah.
It's right out there, and I'll probably go out surfing later this afternoon when the wind dies down a little bit. And so I think people know that about me, but I don't think people that have seen the TV show, but my friends and people that know me from stand up, they know that the beach is a big part of my life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so what motivates you even on days when you aren't really feeling it?
I mean, sometimes you have to motivate yourself, and I am just really lucky to be able to do what I do for a living, to make people laugh as a job. I'm just so lucky to be able to do that. And I don't take that for granted. So that does motivate me. Like, okay, I want to be funnier. I need to write more. I need to perform more. I need to get on stage more. So I think a lot of that self motivation comes from just trying to get better every day.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So what drew you to the Frasier reboot?
Oh, are you kidding me? That's I mean, it's an absolute dream come true. I've been a huge sitcom fan my entire life. I mean, as a stand-up comic, to get onto a sitcom, any sitcom, is the dream gig. And then when I got the call to just to audition for this, my mind was blown. I was like, this is amazing. And to think that, I dreamed of being on a sitcom, and I've been on a few before, but to be in a scene with Kelsey Grammer and getting laughs with Kelsey Grammer, I mean, that's bucket list stuff. So it it it's I'm just so lucky that I get to be, and I'm just a little part of this thing. There's some really talented, brilliant actors on this show, but just to be included in that and just to get even one laugh on that stage, and then it gets on that television and people see it around the world is just
Yeah.
it's just the coolest gig you could imagine. As a stand-up comic, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, the original is one of my favorite shows, so I was very excited for the reboot, and
It's such a great show, isn't it?
yeah,
And
it is.
I'd never met Kelsey Grammer. And then when I got on the stage, and then he's also directing a lot of the episodes.
Oh, cool.
It's just amazing. At one point I was in a scene, and Kelsey was here, and BB Newith was here, and I'm in the middle getting the laughs, and I'm just looking, going, "Pinch me! This isn't happening. This is crazy."
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so what is your favorite movie soundtrack?
Ooh, my favorite movie soundtrack. That's a good one. Maybe The Departed, because it has a lot of Boston in it. Yeah, I think. I mean, if you put me on the spot here, I would say The Departed. I love the Departed soundtrack. Um, I'm a big comedy movie guy, and generally the comedy movies don't have great soundtracks, but I also love anything Boston. So I think The Departed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have not heard that one, so I have
you
to
haven't
go
heard that
look
one?
that up. No, I haven't.
It's great. Yeah. In fact, I
Oh,
think there's a scene in The Sopranos where they're driving in The Sopranos, and he puts it in, and he goes, "Have you heard this? It's the Departed soundtrack. Kill a T." Yeah, I'll go with that one.
oh, cool. Yeah. Um, so if you had a day to yourself, what would it look like? Where would you go and what would you do?
Well, it depends where I am, and I often have a day to myself. That's the cool thing about doing stand-up comedy is, I work an hour a night when I'm in a city. So, for instance, like you're in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've worked the comedy club in Denver. It's one of the best comedy clubs in the world. And a day in my life when I'm working there would be walking downtown where the trolley goes there. I don't know what they call that area, but where all the restaurants are, walking around, finding a cool place to have lunch, then maybe a cool coffee shop where I can sit down and write some of my jokes and get my thoughts in order. And then my world starts at night. And when I go to work late at night, go into a comedy club and make people laugh. And then one of the things I love about Denver is there's late night food there. There's great late night food in Denver.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of eating in my day. Love to eat. But yeah, that's a day on the road. A day at home is a little bit different. A day at home is maybe reading and going through some jokes, and then playing in the ocean out front here, and just handling some business stuff. But I love the I love being on the road and exploring a city. And I've been to most of the big ones now a bunch of times, so I have my favorite places. I just did a week in Cleveland. I love Cleveland. Same kind of vibe as Denver. It's all sort of downtown. You can walk around and eat and check out all the people. And then another big part of my day is watching people and thinking of ideas that will become stand-up comedy, but just observing. I think all great comics observe a lot,
Yeah.
and same with character actors. You watch people, and if you get a chance to play someone like that person, then
Yeah.
you kind of have a framework for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So what in your life brings you the most joy?
Mm, food. Big giant cheeseburger. Um, Surfing brings me a lot of joy, and making people laugh. I mean, it sounds corny, but my job brings me a lot of joy. A lot of joy. Last night I was in a club in Boston, and doing some new jokes that I hadn't done before, some new ideas that I had come up with, and people laughing, and it's just the best when you get a when you have a new joke and people and you go, "Oh, that's gonna work." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
A warning label.
Thank
You've got some great questions, Maya. I love these.
you.
Man, I got to think for every one of them. What would a warning label say? Warning. Jimmy's going to get loud and maybe scare you a little bit, but don't worry, he's harmless. Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Oh, I love that one.
That's a great question.
Thank you. Um, so I am pop culture obsessed, and I go in stages of shows that I just cannot stop watching. Um, is there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
Yes. So I'm late on this one because I didn't watch the first season until just recently because the second season came out. But I love Jack Reacher. I love Jack Reacher. I love that show Reacher. That's a great one. And then last night, I got home late last night and I put on the new Ted just came out yesterday. The prequel to the Ted movie. And so
Oh,
I watched some of that last night and it caught myself late, like 2 o'clock in the morning going, I gotta go to bed. But it's pretty funny. But those are the two that I'm currently watching. I love The Sopranos. I watch The Sopranos over and over and over again, and I catch something different every time. And then I was lucky enough that I got to help do some writing on a show called Loudermilk, which didn't really find any traction because it was moving around, but just recently got dropped on Netflix, and now everybody's watching it, and it's really cool because I worked on that show 4 or 5 years ago, no, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. Um, and to see, it's blowing up all around the world, so that's really cool too.
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, my mom and I are actually watching Reacher right now, and we're watching Louder Milk. So,
Really? Oh,
yeah.
right on. Well, when you get to season two, you'll see an episode that I co-wrote with Peter Farrelly and Jackie Flynn. And then in season three, there's another episode that I co-wrote with those two guys, and I mean, just an incredibly amazing experience to
Yeah,
to write with the Farrelly brothers and the movies that they made, and Pete's movie, Green Book, and they're just the best. But to be able to write for that crazy cast of characters
yeah,
was just so cool. And now it's great when people get to see it.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I when I saw it on Netflix, I actually had I think I heard of it like when it was coming out, but then I couldn't um then I don't remember why, but I wasn't able to watch it, and so I'm watching it now, um and because I love Ron Livingston and
He's
anything
great.
he does, and
Oh,
so
he's so funny in this show too.
yeah,
He's great, and he plays sort of plays this grumpy guy, and he's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's a great show. It when it
yeah,
first came out, it was on I think AT&T network, which didn't really last, and then it got moved around a few different places. But now it looks like it's finding a home on Netflix, and that's really
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've only watched the first two episodes so far, but I love it. So I just
Cool. Well,
want to
yeah,
keep watching
you're
it.
gonna see. So I wasn't in on the first season, and then in the second season I got to write an episode, and then I got to help do some of the punch up on some of the other episodes. And um, some of the folks that wrote on that show are uh, they've written some of the best episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm and Family Guy, and some
Yeah.
some really brilliant stand-up comedians in that room too. So there's some heavy joke
Yeah.
power in there.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. Um, so what song, no matter how many times you hear it, can always make you emotional?
Emotional. All right.
Mm.
I there's a song by Aloe Black called "I'm the Man," and
Oh,
it's just such an optimistic, powerful, sort of motivating thing.
yeah.
It if I need to get pumped up, I'll listen to that one. I love that song.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a good song. I really like Aloe Black.
Yeah. I'll tell you an emotional song story when I got to do the first episode of the new Frasier, when I got to get into my first scene. The show was already taped. You know, they'd already done about half of it, and so they're bringing me in to go into the bar with, you know, 200 people sitting in the bleachers, and they're in the middle of tape night, and here we go. I'm going to step on the set of Frasier, right?
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
And they're playing music to keep the audience hyped up, and they played the theme to Cheers, and
Oh,
I was just walking in going, this
yeah,
is surreal. This is
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, yeah. So that one got me a little bit.
yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean
Oh,
it's such an iconic song, and everybody
yeah,
knows it. And just to be a tiny bit associated with that whole
yeah,
you know, Frasier and the Cheers and all
yeah,
of that. It's just so cool.
yeah. Oh, I love that. So what genre of movie would your life story be told as?
Oh, it would be a comedy for sure. Yeah. Yeah, my life is I'm very, very, very lucky that my life is all about laughter and jokes. And so my life story movie would be a screwball comedy with a bunch of crazy characters, because that is my life. The world of stand-up comedy, we're all nuts. We're all crazy. And put us all in a room and forget it. Last night we had a green room with six of the best comedians in Boston, and just slinging jokes around and making fun of people in there, and just, giving it back and forth. It's just so much fun. So yeah, it would be a comedy for sure.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so what is something that people are always surprised to learn about you?
That I live in New Hampshire. I think people are surprised that,
Yeah,
New Hampshire is my home. I live an hour north of Boston, just over the line in New Hampshire, and I spend a lot of time in Hollywood, and I go back and forth all the time, and I'm on airplanes. I'm on planes all the time. But when people ask me, where do you live, and I say New Hampshire, they go, "What? How do
yeah,
you how do you do that?" It's
yeah,
when if you're I do a lot of stand up here in New England, but then when you're a touring comic too, you get on a plane every weekend. It doesn't matter where you live.
yeah,
And then I try to get out of here every winter and get to LA. So when
yeah,
people hear, oh yeah, he lives up in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. No, but I mean, I have to be the
yeah,
only person who's ever been on a sitcom that lived in Hampton, New Hampshire. I mean, that has to be. I can't imagine.
yeah,
So yeah, that surprises people, I think.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, LA is actually one of my favorite places to go. We have my family and I have gone a few times over the last couple or several times over the last couple years, and it's one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what do you love out there?
Um, I love well, one thing that I love about it is so Denver is such a high altitude, and since um California is at sea level, I actually feel better there
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
um than I do in Denver. And so that is one of my favorite parts
yeah,
about it. And then also a lot of my friends and the people I'm closest to are in LA. So going to get to see them is
yeah,
always uh, just so fun.
yeah, yeah.
And
Have
yeah,
have you have you ever seen a taping of a sitcom?
I have. I went to a taping of Night Court,
Sure.
the
Yeah,
new
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, that one was really fun. And then I went yeah, and then I it's not a sitcom, but then I went to a taping of American Idol.
Oh, cool.
So
Very cool.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. It's an amazing experience to watch, you know, 50 pages of paper turn into
yeah,
a, a show that you're going to see on TV, and to watch that to people that want to get into the business and want to learn about television.
yeah,
There's no better experience than sitting there for 3 or 4 hours and watching them make a show. You get to see the whole thing. It's really,
yeah.
really such a cool experience.
Yeah, yeah, getting to see yeah, Night Court was yeah, and how everything works was just so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a magical place out there.
yeah, it is. It's yeah, my favorite place in the world, so I
All
can't
right.
wait to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I love inspiring and motivational quotes. And this week, my favorite quotation is by Osho. I'm not sure if I'm saying their name right, but it says, "The moment you accept yourself, you become beautiful." Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
That's a tough question. I read stuff all the time. I kind of feel like there are too many people out there putting motivational quotes on Facebook and Instagram, um, just to kind of, I don't know. You
Yeah.
go, I know that guy. I don't know that that's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to self motivate. My quotes all come from television. I watch so much television that I those are the quotes that take up my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like music because
Yeah.
when you're listening to something, I mean, the great thing about great musical lyrics is you can interpret it
Yeah.
your way,
Yeah.
and so you can find something in a song and go, "Oh yeah, that's going to get me going." You know,
Yeah.
you listen to Bruce Springsteen music, or I do, and I always get fired up. Before I go do a show,
Yeah.
in I'm at home, or if I'm in my truck going to a show, I'll crank up music and try and get motivated that way. Or even maybe not even motivation, but just get the energy up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love music and I love Bruce Springsteen. He's one
Oh,
of
he's
my
the best.
favorite
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those lyrics are so layered that
Yeah.
you listen to Springsteen music and you always find something out of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrecking Ball is that song Wrecking Ball that Bruce Springsteen does, which is basically about Giant Stadium. Bring
Yeah.
on your wrecking ball. That's a great motivational song because it's like, come on, let's go. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom practically raised my sister and I on 80s music and
Yeah.
Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen. So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah,
Two great musicians. I love Springsteen.
yeah, me too. Yeah. Um, yeah, so music is, yeah, it's just the best getting even if a song isn't actually about the way you interpret it, just being able to interpret it in your own way.
That's
And
the beauty of it. Yeah. That
yeah,
is the beauty of it. Is that like it everyone takes their own message out of it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, it was so much fun talking with you. I have just had the best time. You've made my day. So I just so appreciate your taking the time.
Oh, you
So
made you
thank you.
made my day when you sent over the invite, and I looked up the stuff that you're doing, and the way you're motivating people, and the way you're turning something into such a positive, and and entertaining people, which is, that's what I do. So when I looked up your stuff, I was like, oh, I get it. I'm doing this one for sure. And I'm thrilled to be part of it.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot.
My pleasure, Maya.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. So
Thanks.
thank
I'm
you.
gonna go jump in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, that sounds nice.
Well, it's pretty cold.
Oh,
It's very cold here right now, but I'm gonna put on a lot of wetsuit and go try and catch a couple waves.
yeah. Well, that sounds like a good day.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.